The year is January 22nd, 1879. A British camp in the shadow of Isandlwana mountain. Over 1,700 redcoats and auxiliaries, confident and well armed with the latest Martini-Henry rifles. They expected an easy victory against savages, as they called the Africans, with spears. What they got instead was one of the worst disasters in British military history. But here's the real mystery: how did 20,000 Zulu warriors, armed mostly with assegais and raw courage, overrun a modern European army in open battle? And even darker, what hidden revelation about British arrogance nearly cost the entire empire its foothold in Africa? Stay with me, because what happened next changed how the British fought forever. But not before another shocking twist that almost broke them again. The thin red line was about to shatter. But one man saw it coming, too late. Enter our central figure, Lieutenant General Lord Chelmsford. A career soldier, ambitious, convinced the Zulu kingdom was ripe for the taking. He split his invasion force into columns, pushing deep into Zululand with overconfidence. These natives won't stand against modern firepower, he believed. Supporting him was Colonel Henry Pulliam, left in charge of the main camp at Isandlwana. Steady, by the book. And on the flanks Colonel Anthony Dunford, aggressive and eager for glory. But arrogance blinded them. No laggard wagons. No trenches. Thin skirmish lines spread too far. When the Zulu impis rose from the grass like ghosts, the horns of the buffalo closed in. The chest slammed the center, the horns flanked. British volley standard, but the Zulus kept coming, absorbing fire, closing the distance. Ammunition wagons were poorly guarded. As redcoats ran low, the line buckled. Hand-to-hand horror erupted. Over 1,300 British dead in hours. Bodies stripped, camp looted. Chelmsford, away with a detached force, returned to nightmare. The empire was stunned. Back home, the newspapers screamed of massacre. But in the field, a quiet revolution began. The British refused to repeat the same fatal mistake. They ditched the open field arrogance. No more thin red lines easily flanked. Instead, the power of the square. Dense rectangular formations. Men shoulder to shoulder, 4 ranks deep, facing every direction. A literal wall of rifles. Corners reinforced. Artillery placed to sweep approaches. Fortification became obsession. Every camp now lagged to wagons, circle and chain trenches dug, earthworks thrown up. Never again caught sleeping in the open. But would these new tactics hold when 15,000 Zulus charged again? One battle would decide, and it carried a secret twist no one saw coming. Fast forward to July 4, 1879. The final push on the Zulu capital, Ulundi. Chelmsford, determined to salvage his name, commanded a reinforced force of about 5,000. Supporting him now were hardened veterans who'd survived the earlier horrors, like the men of the 13th, 58th, and 90th regiments, and artillery crews with a deadly new toy, Gatling guns. They formed a massive hollow square on open ground near the White Ampholoze River. Scouts provoked the Zulus. And then, they came. Wave after wave. The Zulus expected the old panic. But this time, the British were ready. Rapid, disciplined volleys from the Martini-Henry must fire that dropped warriors at 800 yards, 600, 400. No hand-to-hand. The Gatling guns chattered to life. Early machine guns pouring lead like rain. Artillery-backed shrapnel and canister shot shredding charges before they closed. The square stood immovable, a fortress of fire. Zulu bravery was legendary, but bravery met technology and preparation. Charges broke, men fell in heaps. British cavalry finally swept out to pursue the broken remnants. In under an hour, it was over. British losses. Fewer than 15 dead. Zulu dead. Over 1,500, with thousands more wounded or scattered. Ulundi burned. The Zulu kingdom shattered. The adjustments worked brutally well. Defensive caution, the square, rapid fire and heavy support turned technological edge into dominance. But here's the deeper revelation, and another mystery unfolding: these lessons didn't end in Africa. They became a blueprint for future colonial wars. The British had learned to respect their enemies' courage while exploiting every advantage. Yet, as they pushed further into the continent, a new question loomed: would the same tactics hold against different foes, or would over-reliance on the square create fresh vulnerabilities? Because in the years ahead, another African force would test these hard-won lessons, and the British would face a foe that turned their own defensive playbook against them in ways no one predicted. The disaster at Isandlwana wasn't just a defeat. It was a brutal teacher. It forced the British military to evolve from arrogant lines to cautious, firepower-dominated defense. The square, the laggard, the Gatling, they wrote a new chapter in imperial warfare. But stories like this never truly end. The courage of the Zulu warriors echoes still. And the next chapter, in the dusty plains of another African campaign, waits to be told. If you want that next story, the one where these tactics met their match, drop a like, comment next battle below, and subscribe for more untold military turning points. History isn't just dates, it's the human cost, the twists, and the hard lessons that shape empires. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.